Hello. Hi, this is Damian from OK Go. It's Black Friday. I am in nature. I'm at I'm at my in-laws, my my wife's relatives' places. And here we go. Questions have begun. Favorite dog breed? My favorite dog breed is rescue dogs, mixed breed dogs who don't have homes because that's what my dogs are. Thank you. You like my sweater. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with these questions. They're fast. Black Friday is the best sales since Friday 5 hours ago. Exactly. Exactly. This is why I'm not out shopping. Not because the sales aren't good enough, but because it just seems like my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving because you actually do the thing you're supposed to on holidays. You just sit and eat and enjoy the presence of good people. I like that there are I like that there. It's not a. They've done a bad. Done a bad job of commercializing Thanksgiving the day. They've done a good job of commercializing the day after. But Dean Drucker says, "Are you hard to work with?" I imagine I probably am. I'm very perfectionist. I have a very great time working with my collaborators, and they always seem to enjoy it. But I would hate to work with me. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. I'm 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 uh I'm I'm not that hard to work with. But Bjorn says, "Well, if we book you, will you come?" Yes. Gosh, these go by fast. I think there's probably a way that I can make these. Oh yeah, I can just scroll back. Look at this, guys. I'm learning how to use my computer phone. I'm actually on an iPad. If you want to know the truth, I'm on an iPad. Um, I'm scrolling through. What do you do when you run out of ideas? Do something else. This is from Genesis Serna. When I'm trying to have ideas and I don't have any good ones, I stop trying to have ideas. I do the dishes, I take a shower, or sometimes I go for a long drive. I find that driving is good for idea having because you your brain is your brain has to concentrate on just enough on what you're doing, and my visual brain is sort of occupied by making sure I don't hit other cars, and it distracts me just enough that I stop trying to my the rest of my brain is able to sort of do what it needs to. Also, go to sleep. Go to sleep. The Your brain does all that work while you're asleep. So if or work out, that's what I do when I stop having ideas. And it happens a lot. Like when especially when we're writing music, you push and push and push and push and push, and you go down some little hole. Like you start working on exactly what that snare sound should be, and the next thing you know, you're very far away from like spontaneous creativity, and you need to just do something else. Let your brain figure it out without you. Okay, let's see. Man, they want to fly by. Matthew Smith said he bullshitted our way into our gig in Western Australia 10 years ago. Nice to see you, Matthew. I think there might be a question on the end of that, but I don't see it because it's very long. No, do not block Matthew Smith. Sorry, Matthew. Will we have an underwater video? Believe it or not, we planned an underwater video and we never shot it. There are often people actually always ask this question: are there things you've tried to do and they didn't work? We don't ever get to the shoot and they don't work because we're well aware beforehand whether or not it's possible. And we did an underwater video. We prepared for an underwater video, and it became obvious to us within a week that we didn't have the budget necessary to make this as awesome as we wanted to. And not that, I mean, just it was a ridiculously expensive idea, the one we had. So maybe someday, maybe we'll go back to that. when is the Shooting the Moon video getting made? Shooting the Moon, it was a song that we recorded for our third album of The Blue Color of the Sky. I really love that song, and instead of putting it on the record, we put it on in the movie, the second Twilight movie, and so I suppose that is the soundtrack. I mean, the video to it. If you want to see the video, go watch the second Twilight movie. But it's a good song. I like that song. What do I listen to? What do you listen to music while driving? Sorry, yes. I listen to music and I listen to NPR. It depends what I am trying to get my brain to do. Unfortunately, when I'm trying to write music, listening to music is a bad thing because I start pulling it apart. I don't listen emotionally anymore. I just start going like, like some song will come on the radio and I'll be like, listen to the way that they recorded that guitar, or interesting. This is, this chord progression exactly the same as that one. Like I stop enjoying it as music. So I often listen to the news when I'm writing. But I love to listen to music in the car otherwise. And I'm usually, like, every month I try to make myself a playlist of new songs that, like, I'll just, just go, like, I'll like troll around on Spotify. I guess trolling around isn't what it's called anymore, is it? I will move around What the fuck is the matter with me? I will search out new things on Spotify, or I will get recommendations from the other band members, or stumble across things, and I make myself a little playlist of new songs. Often I find that I then realize I didn't like them as much as I thought I did, and I'll go back and listen to records that I really do love. But yes, I do listen to music while I'm driving. That was a long answer to a simple question. I hope you guys all listen to music while you're driving. Billy Villegas, I just accidentally gave you the thumbs up. When are we going to hear Dan on vocals? That's a good question. When you listen harder. I don't know. Dan sometimes is back there in the backing vocals. Maybe you have to figure out where you are already hearing Dan. Okay, what else we got? Hello from Toronto. Well, hello Toronto. Will you come to Houston again? No. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, of course we'll come to Houston. There was one year where we played Houston. I think we played Houston 4 times in 6 months. So where were you then? Or maybe you were there, because you said again. Anyways, yeah, we love Houston. We'll be back. But we're in the middle of writing new music right now. So not right now. What color are my eyes? They're that color. I think of them as hazel. I think they're sort of green. Will we make a video using just Polaroid photos? That seems unlikely, but it would be a cool video. Just think of how many well, I guess, what am I talking about? Like, think of how many blanks. We've gone through a lot of blanks. The problem with doing that video would be that it's a stop motion animation essentially, and I always come up with ideas for stop motion animations, and they make me so excited. But here's the problem: you get the idea within the first 30 seconds, and it's very hard to do lift off after that. It's very hard to find like the next level of excitement in that, because the filming technique itself is the trick. Is like that's where the emotion lies, and so it's hard to make an arc out of that. Like we try to work on the videos the same way we do songwriting itself, which is that like you're setting a tone, and then you're playing with expectations, and you're trying to get people to have to feel the journey throughout it. Like there's this movement, and so getting that, like within the videos, it's often like every 15 to 30 seconds we're sort of trying to figure out a new level of surprise, or a new kind of like a new way to tip people into a different type of wonder, and it's hard to do that with stop motion, because no matter how awesome the particular method of the stop motion animation is, you've kind of like once you know what's going on, there's no more surprise. With the video for Last Leaf. The video for Last Leaf we did as a stop motion animation on pieces of bread. We toasted them, and that was awesome. But the whole, sorry, I'm trying to read these questions at the same time. But you got the whole point too quickly, and there was never the right arc to that. Okay, so what is this actually showing me? There's so many questions, and I'm trying to figure out. Okay, best pizza toppings. There you go. Are these one? Are you guys able to upvote these questions? You are. Okay, that's what's happening. Best pizza topping. Best pizza toppings. Pepperoni, onions, mushrooms, garlic. Okay, what's most memorable moment on stage? What is my most memorable moment on stage? I will tell you a very as with most things, memories on stage are often they're just of the most weirdest, shocking moment. Like things when things were different. So the best moments on stage are when I completely lose myself. When I feel like I am not playing music, but rather just like helping to organize an emotion for the entire crowd, like that we are all having an emotion at the same time, and it just happens to be like I'm just like sort of on the it's like there's like a big fan of emotion going out, and I happen to be stuck right in the corner where it kind of like where it needs to get through me out into everybody. But the most memorable things are the weirdest ones, and I recall that we were opening for we were on tour with This American Life as their backing band, and we had done a series of shows. We were doing like weekends only. I think we were doing 2 or 3 shows a weekend, and they were on these giant stages. This was 10, maybe 15 years ago. 15 years ago. This was 15 years ago. Wow. More than that? It's 2002 or so. So maybe even before. Geez, this was a long time ago. Anyways, this was a long time ago, and we were opening. We were on stage with them, and Ira Glass, the host of This American Life, asked if we would do this ridiculous boy band dance that we had come up with. We had a boy band dance that we had done as sort of a joke for a TV show, and he had seen it, and he asked us if we would do it on stage in front of a Broadway theater crowd. There was 3,000 people in the room. We had never during the week we were playing shows in tiny clubs to like 10, 15 people, and then on the weekends we would do these massive shows with them. And so at first we were like, no, we can't do this. Like, we're a self-respecting rock band. That's a terrible thing to do. And then eventually I was like, it's just fun. It's fun. Just do it. So we did this ridiculous dance, and the crowd went berserk and started throwing roses at us. The people had roses to throw at a This American Life live show. And for the record, actually, I didn't say this is dumb, we're self-respecting. I was like, it's radio. You can't hear a dance, Ira. And Ira, in his infinite wisdom, was like, I don't need to broadcast this part. We just need to make the crowd happy. So we did, and it was a game changer, because we then started doing dances at our shows all the time because it was really fun. My lips are really chapped because we were in New York for that rollout of the video, and it's cold. It's cold, and I've become a wussy. Used to live in New York, and I don't anymore, and I became good at having cold lips, and I do not have cold lips happily anymore. Can you tell that I haven't had enough coffee yet from the way that I'm talking like Yoda? What is my favorite genre of music other than the genre of music you make? Wow, that is nicely said. With the genre of music we make, what genre of music do we make? People always ask me, how would you describe your music? And I'm like, a bunch of organized sounds. I go through phases. Right now, I'm back to a lot of stuff I listened to in high school, doing a lot of The Cure and the Smiths. Given the political climate in the U.S. right now, I am feeling rather introspective, and so I'm doing sort of a lot of kind of gloomy melodic goth music. But I just came out of a long period of listening to a lot of 60s and 70s reggae. And I like discovering older things and realizing that people felt the same 50 years ago as they do now, and they were trying to express the same things, and it felt just as intensely, urgently vital that they get themselves connected to the other humans around them. So I am I go back a lot. I'm not particularly into the electronic pop of the moment, which is strange because I was really into it for a while, and it doesn't feel very connected to me. I love working with synthesizers and I love drum machines, and I love like synthetic music, but I only like it when it actually feels like it's connecting me to other humans, as opposed to just like I don't know, like kind of algorithmically generated music. Okay, sorry, I'm not very good at this, guys. So I'm doing a bad job of figuring out which questions have been upvoted, but I'm giving it a shot. What is one of my favorite music videos? I've given this answer a lot, so to people who've heard me answer this question a lot, I'm sorry that I'm giving you the same answer, but it's true. There is a video which inspired our most recent video quite a lot. It is by the band Vitalik, at Vitalek, French electronic band, and the song is called Birds, and the video is just dogs in slow motion, and it's beautiful. Watching a dog at must be like 1,000 or 2,000 frames per second, shaking water off is just about as exciting as it gets. What is my most embarrassing moment? Well, I have plenty of embarrassing moments, but here's one that happened early on. We were on a TV show, first TV show we'd ever been on. Excuse me for eating, by the way. I just woke up, so I'm starving. We were on this TV show in Chicago. We'd never been on TV before. No one was watching because it's a public access show, which only 6 people can get. And it's an amazing show, though. It's called Chicago. And like Chicago, get it? Chicago, but also a go-go at the end. Brilliant show. The host was this young Asian lady and a sock puppet. She had a sock puppet, and she was the host. And there weren't many questions to ask of the band OK Go at this point, because we'd only existed for a couple months and nothing was known about us, and we hadn't done anything yet for anyone to ask any questions about. So the obvious questions were sort of like, where'd you come up with your name? Or, like, what are your favorite bands? I don't know, like, this is kind of like broad general things. She asked, she was trying to do an interesting spin on that, which was, well, let me set the stage just a little bit more. We were also, at that point, we made all of our own posters for all our shows. If you search online, you can probably find these all over the place. We used to do silk-screened posters. I had gone to school in Providence, Rhode Island, where RISD is. I didn't go to RISD, but that meant that there were all these art school kids making. So for every rock show in town, there were these incredible posters, but like that were everywhere. So I got the idea that every rock show came with like beautiful art everywhere. And when I moved to Chicago and found that like most rock shows didn't, like maybe people put up like a Xerox somewhere, I was like, guys, we should just be making our own posters. So we got some silk screening equipment and would make these like 4-color beautiful silk screens ourselves. And some of them actually we snuck into the Art Institute of Chicago with our friend Susanna Strang. Susanna, it's been a long time. If you're out there, thank you for helping us make all those posters. And we got really into silk screening, and we'd go out and we'd paste them on things, mailboxes and stuff, and then we get in trouble and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, why am I telling you all this? Oh, I had been designing a poster, and I was working as a graphic designer at the time, and so I was doing a lot of design stuff, and it the background of the poster was okay go, okay go, okay go, okay go, all just over and over and over again. And I went and got something to eat, and I came back and I read that poster, and there was a big problem with it. Now, back to the TV show. This woman asked me, why isn't your name, if your name is OK Go, in fact, I think maybe it was the sock puppet that asked it. If your name is OK Go, why isn't it Go OK? Having just read this poster that I had made, OK Go, OK Go, OK Go, which is also Go OK, if you know, if it's looped. Go OK with no spaces in it is gook, which is a horrible racial slur in America from the 70s. And so this Asian woman with her sock puppet asked me, why isn't your name Go OK? And I was like, because that spells gook. And then it was just like silence. And they had to pick a different shot or something. I don't know. They just like, it was a good lesson in giving interviews, I guess. All right. That was a long answer. Sorry. Let's see what I got. I'm just going to spin the wheel because I can't figure out what's been uploaded now. I'll try to learn how to do this better by next time. Sorry. What is the weirdest dream I've had? Oh, man. People's dreams are all weird. And the truth is, I think it's never that interesting to hear other people's dreams, unless they're Tim Nordwin's dreams. So instead of telling you my dreams, I'm going to tell you one by Tim Nordwin. This one, I think about this all the time. Tim Nordwin had a dream. Let me think if I can even remember this. Tim Nordwin had a dream about being in Japan, about being at a sumo wrestling event in Japan. And he was like, some very official high-level people were attending to him, and they were like, and then they showed him that behind the scenes of the sumo wrestling, there was actually this whole other like mafia-like underworld, and it was all actually somehow like an ant farm, but for humans, and they were all like, it was this crazy thing. It goes into much more detail there, but I'm not going to tell you it. The important part of the dream is that in the dream he woke up, and he was in a classroom full of other people, and they'd all had the exact same dream, but with tiny differences. And at first they were all like, they felt this like grand sense of connection and love because like, oh my God, somehow the world is all connected. And slowly they started to have these fights about the little tiny details that were different. And they started like, and they got angrier and angrier and angrier until like basically warfare broke out because nobody could agree on the tiny details, that they'd all have the same dream, but they all thought it was slightly different. Like some people were like, no, it wasn't sumo, it was UCF or what, UFC, what is UFC? Yeah, UFC. And eventually this thing that everybody had experienced together turned into international warfare. And I think about that dream all the time. I think it's genius. Because that's exactly what's happening. Think about how the challenges that face humanity right now. We hate each other. It's crazy. Anyways. Guys, I got gluten-free bread. Damn. All right, spin the dial. My favorite concert moment was when you did your Les Mis thing with Tim. Tim and I can perform some scenes from Les Miserables sometimes, and sometimes on stage when if we break strings or there's like, you know, we need to take a technical break for some reason, we will keep ourselves primarily and also the audience entertained by doing scenes from Les Miserables. The most memorable time I can remember doing this scene from Les Miserables, the one we like to do the most, is the confrontation when both Javert and Valjean sing angrily at each other, was during the video shoot for This Too Shall Pass. the Rube Goldberg version, which is the recorded version of This Too Shall Pass. By the way, little side note: everyone's like, "Why do you have two videos for This Too Shall Pass?" We have one video for the recorded version, and the other one's a live performance. The This Too Shall Pass video with the marching band is a live performance. That's not a video. It's a very well choreographed live performance. Ta-da! All right, you can see my coffee is starting to work. We were setting up for This Too Shall Pass, the Rube Goldberg recorded version. We had 11 hours until filming was supposed to start. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and all the electricity went out, and this had happened several times already during the day because we kept on blowing fuses. So we were like, okay, well, I mean, not fuses, the breakers. So we were like, okay, go flip the circuit breakers. We just blew the electricity again. Someone goes to check the circuit breakers. The circuit breakers are all fine. We had not blown the electricity. A drunk driver had run into a pole outside and blown up the transformer for the entire block. So that sucked. So we move everybody outside into the parking lot of the warehouse we were working in. We turned on some cars so that we had the headlights. We started working in the parking lot. I'm still having trouble finding very obvious words like parking lot. That's two words. Then this weird guy sort of started to join us. He just sort of kind of came around the edges of the thing and was kind of like, hey, and it's saying these very strange things that I can't remember now, but he was kind of he's just very clearly in an altered state. And he went from being very friendly to being sort of scary, and eventually he got really, really scary. And so we all moved back inside the now pitch black, dark, and wet warehouse, closed the door, and we heard this guy outside go nuts and start throwing out, there were power tools out there. We had saws and bandsaws and there's a whole bunch of stuff there. And he threw a radial saw at the door of the warehouse, and he was jumping on people's car. He actually dented someone's hood in really badly. Anyways, we had to call the police. We were in the warehouse without any power, without any safety. And so what Tim and I did was we were like, it's time for us to all, we need a moment of safety and calm. It is time to perform Les Miserables. So we got iPhones out and lit everybody up, and then we just performed the confrontation. People seemed it took tensions down. That was my favorite performance of that. My sister, Trish C., used to do scenes from Les Miserables with her best friend, Rachel Van Dongen. So I think we really inherited that. That was her love of Les Miserables became my love of Les Miserables. Okay, spin the wheels. Have you seen Insane Ian's OK Go pastiche tribute for your song When the World Ends? No, I have not. But I just give it a plug. What's up, Insane Ian? What do you do when you've hit a creative block? That's a good question, because I hit them all the time. Mostly I just go into severe depression. Ha ha. No, I mean I do, but I'm trying to not do that. The best thing to do is stop and try to do something else. The problem is this: you don't ever know when it's right around the corner. You always want to keep going. Some blocks take persistence, and other ones just take stopping. If you can tell by the type of stuff we make, I tend to be the type of person who leans towards persistence. I'm just like, I must do this, finish it, and that's kind of a drag. It's better to stop and do something else. But I can also be a real procrastinator. I really like potting plants. I I like to shift all my tiny succulents that have gotten big into slightly more medium-sized pots, and the medium ones into slightly larger pots, and the slightly larger pots into large pots, and it makes me very happy. But I could do that all day long and then never get any work done. So, but I think let's answer this question in a more useful way. Not like here's what you should do when you hit a creative block, because what I do is probably it's sort of self-defeating sometimes. I said this at the beginning of this thing, but do something else. Don't give up too soon. But when you start getting frustrated with yourself instead of with the idea, just go do something else. Your brain will work on it without you. All right. It's 10 o'clock, so I have to go pretty soon. It's 10 o'clock where I am. I'm on the West Coast, by the way. I'm near San Diego. Because it's Thanksgiving here in America. Well, it was yesterday. And today, it's that shopping day. Guys, let's be honest. If you want to buy something for Black Friday, it should be an OK Go t-shirt. Come on. What else are you going to do? I don't even know. We're probably having a great sale. I bet we're having a great sale. I bet our sale is amazing. We did put out 2 new t-shirts that were that are specific to this video, so check them out. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about companies. This new video, which I'm surprised, by the way, very few of you asked questions about this new video, which was sort of nice because I've been answering interviews about it all week. And please hold. It's all right. What's up? Oh, I'm well fed. Thank you, though.
No, I know. This might not have been gluten-free.
Oh, yeah. Sure tasted good. Guys, that bread that was gluten-free, not gluten-free. I'm gonna get real tired. So the thanks, babe. It's okay. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, companies. Here's the thing. We are. Oh yeah, I was noticing that you guys did not ask very many questions about the new video, which I'm sure they're in here, and there's been a lot of questions. And thank you guys. I'm really sorry that I didn't get to everyone's questions. I have been answering a lot of questions about the video because we've done a lot of interviews in the last few days, and it's been pleasant to talk about more general things. However, I would like to talk about one thing. I've saw a bunch of stuff online. People are really excited about the video. Some people think that it's like a big sellout thing to have a brand involved. I mean, first of all, that we never could have made this video without a brand involved, because it's way more expensive to do this than any record label could possibly handle. Certainly not our own record label, which doesn't have any money at all. But that's beside the point, because the reason we decided to work with Morton on this was because Morton is doing something I think is really amazing. They've never spent much money on advertising because they don't have to, because they've got this iconic logo and everybody knows who they are. Everybody knows what Morton Salt is, but they decided to start spending money, and instead of going crassly at your wallet, they are doing something I think is really amazing. They just decided to support people who are doing good things in the world. That they decided they wanted to mean more than just sort of just the commodity of salt, and that they're going to put their dollars behind people who are doing good things in the world. So there are these 5 difference makers who are sort of who are involved with our video and who inspired us a great deal. People who are bringing clean water to areas of the world who don't have water, don't have clean water, drinking water, which is unfortunately most of the world, which is shocking. There are people who are working on arts education in America. There are people who are working on music education in America. The arts education, they're using public libraries to teach art classes. That's brilliant. Like, we should all be going to our public libraries, and yet we are not, because we have our computers and they do that for us. And so they're using them as art classes. That's awesome. And there is a woman who is helping resettle young girl refugees in America. It's amazing. There's a 15-year-old girl who is teaching who is teaching other young kids how to eat healthily. So anyways, they have gone and found these young people who are using their lives to make the world a better place, and they are straight up giving them grants. They're just giving them money. And they wanted a way to publicize this and a sort of central place to make for everyone to sort of learn about these people, and hopefully for us to make a piece of art that is inspiring, that dives into the basic idea that you can, that like in a single moment so much can happen, you can do so much and so much can change. Now all of that can sound like that metaphor can sound trite or cheap, or it can sound or it can be as like meaningful as I think it is. So it's hard for me to be like utterly, totally, perfectly earnest about things like this. But what they're doing is amazing. So please check it out. They have it's mortonsalt.com/walkherwalk is the like sort of the jumping off point for all of this, and there's a version of our video, an interactive version of our video. I mean, interactive in that there's a thing you can click on it that will lead you into all of this. So go check it out. They've been great to work with, and in general, you know, if you have been following us for a long time, you probably heard me answer the question a million times about working with brands as opposed to working with record labels or whatever, you know, not having to go through radio stations and the kind of crap of the music industry. I still believe all that, like that we are a very lucky band to that we get to deal, we get to have open transactions with these brands. It's very transparent. Like instead of being insulated in a bubble where we pretend like the money out there doesn't matter, we're just artists and nobody has to pay their rent. Like we actually can work with brands that we trust and believe, and there's a open communication. I believe all of that, but this is actually above and beyond that this time, where Morton is doing this amazing stuff for the world. I'll stop talking about it now. Okay, one last question. And what is it? Someone says, oh, this is the question. Yeah, this just came up there's an interview with me that just got published yesterday or today. And this person's asking, never agency, ? We were asked, do we want to start a creative agency? And for those of you who haven't had to deal with advertising much, creative agency is what they call ad agencies these days. No, we don't want to. We did think about it because for a while we were on tour and having so much fun, and then we would make these videos and they would be these big deals, and people would and it became obvious that if we wanted to go into making these things professionally, you know, hire up a big team of people and churn them out all the time, we could make a lot of money that way. And we thought about it. We actually almost did it, but here's the problem. We would have wound up just being bosses. Like it's these creative ideas. Everyone asks about the ideas all the time. The ideas are actually easy to have. You all have crazy, insane ideas. Just wake up any day and like try to write down your dreams. Like they're all crazy. What's hard to do is actually make that stuff happen in the world. And hiring other people to get to do our job so that we could just manage them and make money off of it would have been a nightmare. We actually like making these things, and it's too hard to manage other people while they're doing the fun part. On top of which, when we do this as a rock band, with our own name and our own face on it, we can't let it be bad ever. Whereas ad agencies always wind up being in a position where they eventually it's just easier to be like, well, it's not perfect, but you know, the check cleared, you know. Anyways, I did not expect this. I'm used to talking about music with you guys and not about that. But I love you all very much. Thank you for joining me on this Blue Friday. It's not Black Friday. It's a gorgeous blue day out. Look. That probably looks white. No, it looks blue to you, right? In the process of this, I think my hair is almost dry from my shower. I ate a bunch of non-gluten-free bread, and I'll probably turn into an absolute monster in the next 20 minutes. And maybe I'll go live again when I have turned into that monster, so you can see what a different person I am. Bye, guys. Love you guys. Bye.